Hello, in this video I'm going to give you a fairly in-depth look at The Witcher 3 Wild Hunt. First things first, parents, pay attention to the rating of this game. It's rated M because of excessive violence, strong language, nudity, and a few other things. It delivers on all these things, so you might want to keep that in mind if you're thinking about giving this game to a child. First off, the packaging is pretty nice. It has an outer sleeve, which is fairly common with games these days. But what I liked about it most is that it came with the game disc and it came with the CD that has the soundtrack to it. And with games like this, the soundtrack's usually pretty good. In fact, with this game, it is too. This game is a sequel to The Witcher and Witcher 2 Assassins of Kings. These games are based on novels written by best-selling Polish author Andrzej Sapkowski. I do not intend to give you a lot of plot information, but rather to explain some of the mechanics of the game. Before we go into detail about these mechanics, I just want to tell you how impressed I was at the scenery in this game. The stunning graphics and open-world approach of the game rival the grandeur of what SKYRIM did for Xbox 360. The game also has great replayability because your decisions can drastically affect the storyline. When I played through this game the first time, some of the main NPCs died, and I even managed to get a village killed off, so choose carefully. There's a lot to cover, so let's get right to it. A Witcher is a professional mercenary who's usually hired by people to handle monster infestations, missing persons, or to remove curses. Because Witchers have very acute senses, they are adept at fighting as well as investigation, and in many cases you use your Witcher senses to follow trails of evidence. In the game, we play a Witcher named Geralt of Rivia. This is the same Witcher from the first two Witcher games. The initial tutorial that the game opens with attempts to provide some backstory and introduces the characters. It's been such a long time since I played Witcher 2 that I didn't remember anyone except Geralt, so it's helpful to see some of this introductory stuff. This introductory chapter takes place at Kaer Morhen, the school where the Witchers are trained. Once we're finished in Kaer Morhen, we go to a place called White Orchard. White Orchard is just a low-level area that you use to get used to how the game works.
Because you can brew potions from their blood? No.
The first topic I want to cover is equipment. In this game you have two types of swords, a hand crossbow and typical armor components, and Witcher potions. Your swords are either steel or silver, and the one you use when fighting depends on your opponent. Humanoid opponents are damaged by steel, while monsters and enchanted creatures are harmed by silver. The game lets you know which sword to use by coloring the opponent's health bar red for steel or silver for silver. Swords can be found with other treasure or forged by swordsmiths that you find in your travels, as long as you have the plans. Armor can also be built or found, just like swords. Swords and armor can be upgraded with special runes, which provide bonus attributes like damage bonuses, poison, fire, frost, that kind of thing. Runes are also built or found with other treasure and can be combined to increase the bonus they provide to the weapon or armor you're using them with. One of the neat things about this game is that everything that you get can be taken apart or assembled using rudimentary parts. And in addition to that, everything can be upgraded. Even your potions can have upgrades to them. You just have to find the recipes in your travels. There are two types of attacks using your swords. A quick attack that does less damage, and a slower one that does more damage. The hand crossbow is not especially effective when it comes to dealing damage, but it does cause flying opponents to crash to the ground if you score a hit. The idea is you shoot them with your crossbow and then you run up and slaughter them with your swords. You also have access to rudimentary magic spells called signs that can be used for a variety of situations, including combat, revealing blocked passageways, and in conversations to persuade NPCs. Signs can also be upgraded with skill points when you level up. Witcher potions are made using ingredients that grow on plants in the wild, are purchased from alchemists, or taken from slain monsters. The potion recipes make bombs for combat or blowing up monster nests, to drink for combat bonuses or healing, to attract monsters, or used as oils on your blades to cause higher amounts of damage to specific enemies. In order to make potions, you need to have the appropriate recipe, but unlike weapons and armor, you can brew potions yourself. You can get upgrades to your potions by finding recipe upgrades in the game world. Mutagens are collected from slain monsters. They can be combined like runes and upgraded. They are used in your character's skill tree. The skill tree is part of the character menu, and you use skill points to fill it in. Choose wisely because you're not likely to be able to specialize in more than one or two things before the game is over. Meditation. Depending on the difficulty you have the game set to, meditation will refresh your character and replenish your supply of Witcher potions. There are basically 4 types of quests. Main storyline quests. Completing these quests gets you closer to finishing the game, and they're more elaborate than other quests, and often more difficult. Secondary quests. During your travels, you may happen across a letter that initiates a side quest. Completing these quests is not required, but they lead to pretty cool places, and they definitely add to the depth of the gameplay. Witcher contracts. Usually found on job boards in villages or cities, these quests are good for earning money and often lead you to very cool places that are fun to explore. Treasure hunts. These quests are commonly found by reading books discovered during your exploration, and they lead you to plans for special Witcher equipment and other treasures. You have a horse named Roach, and you can call him almost any time if you're outdoors. This is very useful for traveling faster when you do not have easy access to a fast travel point. Attacking opponents from your horse has some advantages too. Your horse, like everything else in the game, can be upgraded with a better saddle, saddlebags that increase your inventory capacity, and blinders that make your horse harder for opponents to spook. If your horse gets spooked, he throws you off and then you have to fight your opponents on the ground. You can get upgraded blinders, saddles, or saddlebags for your horse either by competing in horse races or by finding them with other treasure in the game world.
What do you need?
Wouldn't mind a few rounds of Gwent.
There's a mini-game couched in the main game. It's a card game called Gwent, and you get cards to play this game either from merchants or by defeating specific NPCs when you play Gwent with them. Gwent's finer points could probably require an entire video dedicated to strategy, so I will not cover this in detail at this time. All I will say is that once you understand how it's played, you may find yourself wasting a lot of in-game time playing just for fun. Add to all this stuff a great storyline with good characters and plenty of plot twists and unexpected turns, a huge open world to explore, and plenty of interesting quests, and you're in for a great ride. Witcher 3 gets a very emphatic thumbs up from me, and I would definitely recommend it to any adult game player, especially if you like role-playing games. I don't want to draw direct comparisons to Skyrim because this game is different enough, but I will say that it is probably the best sword and sorcery RPG to come out since Skyrim. I hope you find this review helpful. Please consider subscribing to this channel. There will be more game reviews coming up in the future. Thanks, and make it a great day.